We are recording the service, so those of you who have family and friends who are watching or want to watch this later, please encourage them to go to Centenary's YouTube site. So welcome. This is a big treat for us to have the Centenary College Choir agree to lead our chapel service. And the students in the choir have planned and put this together for us. So big thank you to all of you. And with that, I will turn it over to Andrea Kay, who will begin our service.
God of grace, we open our hearts, minds, and souls to worship you. Thank you for today. Thank you that today we dwell in your kingdom and live in your presence. Thank you that today, as we gather together, we join with people across the world to witness your holy works. Come be with us, inspire us, and lead us in our time together. We ask that in your beautiful name. Amen. Please stand and open your hymnals to page 529 as we sing How Firm a Foundation.
I'm not going to read it, but today I'll be speaking on the 43rd chapter of the book of Isaiah, where the text of our song today, Be Not Afraid, is from. Well, if faith is a checklist, I'm well on my way. The last time I was part of a chapel service here in Brown, I sang the wrong words to the wrong song twice. I'm definitely quaking in my boots right now, but I think that overcoming that is a step in the right direction to not being afraid. I'm not a lead pastor, and I'm not a school teacher. I'm not the kind of person who's ready to pump out an hour-long lesson or reflection and deliver it seamlessly day after day. I do hope that I can do a few minutes some justice and that I have a couple good nuggets that I can leave you with. We live in a world riddled with and addled by anxiety. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, almost 20% of adults in America have an anxiety disorder. However, when we look at anxiety in college students, statistics begin to skyrocket. In a poll done by the American Psychological Association, anxiety is the top concern by college students. In the midsection of Isaiah today, ooh, it's out of order. Oh no. Thank you, I've got this. All right, I think it's just one page, we'll live. Oh, I think I'm just missing a page. It's fine. Pause, collecting, figuring out what to do. Something has gone wrong again, and that is okay. All right. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to improvise that part. So, we are looking at Isaiah 43 for today. Isaiah 43, fun thing about Isaiah, right? There's actually 3 different writers for Isaiah, according to biblical scholars. We are looking at the second writer, who is called Deutero-Isaiah. That is an awesome name. I love that somebody out there is historically referred to as Deutero-Isaiah. That is just so cool. So for the midsection of Isaiah for today, we're looking at Deutero-Isaiah. Deutero-Isaiah was a writer and teacher during the Babylonian exile. For those of you who don't know, that is a very big deal. You guys can't see it on the paper right here, but I underlined very big deal to emphasize how big of a deal it was. So crash course on the Babylonian exile. Judah, the kingdom of Jewish people, is hanging out and doing their own thing. Egypt gets scares of Babylon and starts expanding their territory by conquering nearby lands. Josiah, the king of Judah, dies in battle against Egypt, so they retreat to Jerusalem and instate his son as king. So, a bit of an unsettling time for Judah. Now, the new king begins to pay tribute to Babylon, but then Babylon loses a battle against Egypt, so Judah revolts. But Babylon is here, and they're angry. After a 3-month siege of Jerusalem, the new king dies, and we're left with a new king, Jeconiah, who also happens to be 18 years old. The Jews are now taken to Babylon for about 70 years, according to Jeremiah, although that length of time is debated amongst biblical scholars, somewhere between 50 and 70. But Jeremiah says 70, so I'll believe him for now. So recap and status update. The Jews have been taken from their home, separated from their families, and a ton of them have died, and also their king is a freshman. So, they're thriving. Gosh, that just sounds so miserable. Like you're walking around in Babylon, you have no idea what's going on or where you are. You've been taken from your home, your family is completely separated, and also your king is 18. Like, this is great. This is really nice. This is just a great time to be alive. So, what I really, really love about this passage of Isaiah, right, is that later on, Deutero-Isaiah goes through and talks to specifically those people, right? Those people experiencing that anxiety. Geography moment, right? Babylon is far to the east of blah, 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 Judah, Israel, all that kind of stuff. I'm looking for the quote now. Yeah, it's on the page that's missing. Great. So the direct quote, or close to it, right, is that God promises that he will take the children from the east and he will bring you home from the west. That is a blatant and specific call out to relieve the anxieties of the Jews that are living in Babylon right now. This is a terrible, terrible time for them. This is also the same time around when, like, Daniel would have been in the lion's den. Jews are being persecuted for not believing in the God of Babylon. All of these different terrible, terrible things. Anxiety everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. I'm not going to compare college to being displaced, a refugee, and having your family separated. But I am going to say that we still live in a lot of time of anxiety right now. Also, disclaimer, when I talk about anxiety, I am really not talking about like mental health disorders. Those are for like professional people to talk about and not for me. But in general, anxiety, there's a lot we can do for it. Isaiah has a very specific thing that he believes can help alleviate anxiety and is specifically the way that you can experience God. He believes the best way to experience God is through creation, God's creation. So when he walks through, and in Be Not Afraid, we're talking about rivers, and we're talking about fires, and we're talking about all these things that God will deliver us through, Isaiah is saying God can deliver us through these things that he himself has created, right? God has created all of this, so of course we can get through it ourselves. I would like to think that if this was written now, which it's not, but like, humor me, it would be just as specific to us. In the same way that God specifically talked to the Jews then and said, I will deliver your children from the west, and I will deliver you from the east, and I will bring you together, so too could he say, hey, you're going to get through the semester, or hey, we're going to get you where you need to go, and I am with you. God promises that he is with us, but he can just be so hard to see. I know it's hard for me to see. I'd like to think that God doesn't show himself to us. He gives us the opportunity to look for him. I agree with Isaiah. One of the best ways to experience God is through creation. In the past few weeks, that's been the blooming flowers on campus for me. It has been such a breath of fresh air to see the bursting colors, the vibrant green, and a cool wind on a warm day wandering through the arboretum. That's where I've seen God, so I encourage you to look there too. But to look, we have to slow down. I think that's what I really want everyone to take away, is slowing down. When we have anxiety, we just keep going faster and faster and faster, and we only look at the things that are right in front of us, stressing us out. One of the root words of anxiety is ong, an ancient Latin word, meaning narrow or painfully constricted. I like to think of anxiety and the word ong, root in anxiety, as being like tunnel visioned, and your vision is restricted to only the things that are panicking you. The way to treat that would be to widening your lens, and I don't think that we can do that until we slow down as a people. I know that I, as a person, am running around with a chicken, like with my head cut off, trying to get everything done. I am sorry for everyone behind me who doesn't want to hear this right now, but we have like 3 weeks left of school. Prep week is next week, and then exams. We have a lot to get done in not a lot of time. But we can get it done. We always do. We do. Every single year the seniors walk the stage, and seniors, we will too. Every single year, all of the sophomores, juniors, and freshmen take a 3-day nap after their final. It just happens, and we get through it. But that doesn't mean that the time we spend getting there has to be as miserable as we make it for ourselves. We worry ourselves and worry ourselves and worry ourselves, and it's not that it's not necessary or that it is to be expected, right? We have stressful things going on around us. The problem is when we make it our entire lives. Isaiah reminds us to stop, slow down, and see God through his creation. I really encourage everybody, including myself, to take a moment, take a deep breath, slow down. Have meaningful time with a person you love. Wander through the Arboretum. It is beautiful. It is so beautiful. And I've talked to somebody recently who didn't realize that the flowers were in bloom. And I can only imagine that that's because you're so busy running from James to Mickle. I really need this. But walk. It'll be okay. Take a leisurely pace. Take a break. Hang out with your favorite seniors before they're gone. We're all going to get through this season of life together. We can do it.
Please join me in an attitude of prayer. Slow me down, Lord. Ease the pounding of my heart by the quieting of my mind. Steady my harried pace with a vision of the eternal reach of time. Give me, amidst the confusions of my day, the calmness of the everlasting hills. Break the tensions of my nerves with the soothing music of the singing streams that live in my memory. Help me to know that the magical power of sleep. Teach me the art of taking minute vacations, of slowing down to look at a flower, to chat with an old friend, or to make a new one, to pet a dog, to watch a spider build a web, to smile at a child, or to read a few lines from a good book. Remind me each day that the race is not always won by the swift, that there is more to life than increasing its speed. Let me look upward into the branches of the towering oak and know that it grew great and strong because it grew slowly and well. Slow me down, Lord, and inspire me to send my roots deep into the soil of life's enduring values, that I may grow toward the stars of our great destiny. Amen. This concludes our service.